Let them bring you down, cause then you be on a level. Listen, I'm never giving up. Stand your ground, don't be too comfortable or too settled. Listen, I'm never giving up. When you hit rock bottom, it's only one way to go. Listen, I'm never giving up. Everybody got problems, how you handle them, no. Yeah.
What's up? What's up? Thanks a lot for coming out again, guys. We got a very special episode for you today. Something that I'm very passionate about, youth athletics. We came from the ground up as well. So, those youth athletics is very important. A very good foundation is very important. And I think I have one of the best in the nation with us today, Coach Sanders. How you doing today, sir?
What's going on, fellas? I'm good. How y'all doing today?
Man, we good. We're just blessed to have you on today, sir.
Yes, sir. Definitely. I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you fellas this morning.
Good deal. So just give you guys a little background, a little funny stories as well. Sean and I played college football together. I was nowhere close to his level. Sean.
That's not true at all.
Sean was a linebacker that you don't want to see in that hole. I tell you that. And man, Sean, I owe a lot to Sean and that defense. That defense that I played against when he was a senior. I came in as a freshman. He was a senior. And that defense was the number one defense in the nation for a minute across the board, right?
That is correct. I think probably 3 of my 4 years we were rated in the top, 3 in the nation. So definitely shout out to the coaches.
Yes, sir. We have a great coaching staff, man, and we're definitely sure we'll get into that a little bit today as well. But Sean kept us straight. We was on that scout team trying to get him the best look, and I think I gave him the best look I could.
Man, listen, you've been humble. You used to run through us.
I gave him the best look I could, you know what I mean? So, things get heated. There was only 2 people that could calm me down out there. Sean Sanders, Javarrs Morris, aka Demo, man. Rest in peace, bro. But Sean, let's get in this thing, man. We here. You don't have practice today, but how's everything with the organization? Can you tell me about your background with how you got into youth sports? First of all, I love to hear about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, actually, it's kind of funny. Probably about 5 or 6 years ago, me and my son, we were at the playground. I took him to the playground. So he's, 4, 5 years old, and there's a team out there practicing. Me with my football background, I see a football team, I want to get my son involved, but I wasn't pressuring him. I took him over there, asked him, hey, you want to give it a shot? You want to try? He said, no, I want to go back to the playground. So I took him back to the playground. And, so I asked him again later that evening. And he said, yeah, I'll give it a shot. So I got in contact with the coach. And initially, I just wanted to take him out there, stand off to the side. They're 4 or 5 years old running around with flags on.
Right.
And, long before you know it, the coach asked if anyone wanted to help me seeing certain things. Okay, yeah, he needs help. It's about 20 kids out there running around.
Right.
So I started assisting him. Good guy. Shout out to Brandon Cooper. Started assisting, and then it kind of took off from there. And I came in with the Coach Kent mentality. They're 5 and 6 years old. Those of you who don't know Coach Kent.
Yeah.
So, so that's where it started from there. And then as years progressed, I just moved up with my son, got an opportunity to coach the 6U team, tackle team, become the head coach.
Okay.
So I took that role on, and that's when I started head coaching. And now my team we're 10 and under, and on a national level. For those of you who follow youth sports, so we're a travel team, sort of similar to AAU, AAU league. So we do that, and it's been going well. A couple ups and downs here and there along the way, but I definitely enjoy it.
And so it's not AAU. What actually division like nationally are you guys associated with?
So AYF, that's our club association, but there are different national levels. You have the Battle. I don't know if you ever heard of Battle YNC, which is Youth National Championship. They have their side, and then you have the AYF side. We've played in both national tournaments, so it just depends on how we progress through the season. Whichever national we decide to go to, we'll choose there. But it's no AAU league, so to speak. So they don't use the name AAU, but to correlate it with the type of level of football, youth football that we're playing, is one of the highest. So we seek out to play some of the best competition across the nation. We have some of those guys on our schedule this year. So we'll be traveling quite a bit.
So when you say traveling, you're a traveling club. Like what kind of traveling are you guys doing? Out of state, cross country?
Yeah, we'll be out of state. We're not going, I wouldn't say cross country, but our furthest trip will be Florida this year. We're actually headed to Savannah at the end of this month to play in a tournament. We come back, and September the 5th, we'll be down for a big game in Atlanta. These are one-off games. So when we talk about travel, we're traveling down there to play one game, against, in my eyes, the top team in the nation. So that's going to be a good game. And then we were slated to travel out to Kansas City, but I think that trip is going to be reverted. What I'm really trying to do is get a game down in my hometown, Raleigh, this year. So, we're working to get a few teams to meet down there and make it a big weekend. I need contacts, venues, fields, all that stuff.
And you guys are based in Maryland, correct?
Yes, we're located right outside of DC. We're kind of all over. If you're familiar with the area, Maryland, Prince George's County is similar to townships, right outside of major cities and so forth. So I'll just say we're based out of Prince George's County as opposed to a particular town.
East Side, North Carolina.
Okay.
Now we roll.
And you said your son, well, it sounds like your son was a big part of, the catalyst to you coaching. Are you still coaching him? He's still on your team?
Yes, I am. So the way it works is, you move up with your team or your kids each year. Just happens to be my son, and his age group is 10. So yes, I'm moving up with him, and it's really a blessing being able to see him progress, throughout the years. And I'm not as hands-on with him as I was back in, 6U, 7U. I have other coaches now. So he has his positional coaches, and obviously we have 29 other kids. I have my position, that I coach. So, I'm happy about the way he's progressing, and, I can give him the other coaches, and he's still doing well. So.
So you all made a really big run last year. The Broncos. I loved every video that you and your squad put out with you and the Broncos, man. You had some phenomenal players. I was able to see your son in action, so I was really proud about that. You're seeing one of my former teammates' son, blossom. He's legit. He's legit. But tell me about that run in the Nationals last year, and what division did you guys choose last year to compete in?
It was we started during COVID year. Most of the leagues, local leagues, shut down. With the pandemic, you really had to schedule and find your own situation, your own games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, luckily enough, we still had quite a bit of teams in this region, the Northeast region, still playing football. And down south, they're never going to cancel football for anything.
Right.
That's football haven down there.
Right.
So we were able to travel quite a bit actually in within our region. We went to New York, and we had a bunch of games in Virginia. Where's the furthest we went? Florida was obviously, the end of the year trip that we made. We did have a trip to South Carolina last year as well. So we ended up playing 19 games. So it was a full season. We ran through everything up here in the Northeast. So this is where the story gets interesting, because there are these groups, these Facebook groups, different social media groups with youth football coaches from all over. It gets comical in there, it gets heated in there, heated discussion,
Yes.
So the talk is, football in the North is soft, and then football out West, it's kind of the same thing. It's soft. Football is born in the South. It runs through the South. It runs through Georgia, Florida, Texas. So in order to beat the best, you got to play, you got to run, you got to come down here and play us, and then we'll let you know how you fare. So that's always been that's the argument. Sort of died down now, but that's essentially the discussions are, well, who's the best? Well, we were the best in our region. We weren't challenged. Probably had one team in there that played us kind of close, that actually scored more than one touchdown on us. But we ended up beating them still by 21 points. So we looked at it, and we looked at the field of teams that were going to go to either the AYF National Tournament or the Youth National Championship, which is sponsored by Battle. And, my thing is, I always want my kids to be challenged. We're never going to take the easy way out, win or lose. I want you to play against some of the best kids, across the nation. So we chose to go to the YNC because we felt the competition was more, it was tough, and those teams were solid, from our research and from what we've seen throughout the year. So we went there. There was a lot of hype surrounded around our team because, from where we came from, undefeated, I think we won about 16 games, without a loss. Very impressive to most, but not to those guys down in Georgia. And so we decided to go to that, the YNC Battle tournament. Unfortunately, we end up losing the first. So in the tournament, you play at least 3 games. And we were able to go down there and play one of the top rated teams, Falcons United out of Atlanta.
I've seen those.
Yeah, and they beat us. We couldn't get anything going on offense, and I can say from seeing it up close and personal, it is different. The speed was different. Those guys, they really coach well, and so they beat us. And then we had a second game, and we ended up beating this team out of Florida. And then our last game, I think the kids were just tired. We were tired of the travel, and we got spanked, 26-0 Fort Lauderdale, the Canes. And so it was a good experience for our kids. You know, really, I wanted to see, you know, how would they bounce back? How would we bounce back as coaches? You know, so much expectation surrounded around, you know, a team that's had the success that we've had. You know, one of the things that we try to coach our parents of school, our, you know, just our community on is it's a possibility you can lose against these are great teams. And this year it's not any easier. You know, teams are loaded up. We're going to go down there, be challenged. We potentially could lose. You know, that's not our goal, but, you know, it could happen. My main thing is the experience that you give to these kids being able to travel and play, you know, the sport that they love. Some of them, you know, never leave the city, will never go on vacation anywhere. So be able to say, you know, I remember back when, you know, I went with, you know, this team and, you know, we traveled here to play football. You know, when you get in high school, really don't travel at all. Everything's localized. So that's what it's all about for me, just creating the experience, you know, for these kids.
Yeah.
First off, I just want to say, as a New Yorker, football up there is we not soft. We not soft. All right. I just want to, you know, get clarification on that. Just get that out the way. And I also want to ask you, what's the most challenging thing about coaching youth football?
Can I say this on here?
Say whatever you need to say.
Yeah, well, there's a few of them. I can't really pinpoint one. I think the perception of once you start getting to a competitive level, the mentality has to shift from a pay to play type of mentality that you normally get with regular youth rec league, where, you know, everyone's obligated, you know, coaches are obligated to play, you know, I pay my fee as a parent. I expect my son, you know, to play. I think that's that's the most challenging thing that I've dealt with. You know, obviously you have levels, and you guys know, you know, once you start getting into you know, a competitive phase of the game or age, where, you know, these kids are going off into high school in 3 or 4 years, you got to get them prepared. Skill levels are different. So that means, you know, you want to get kids in the game, but it's a possibility that, you know, some kids might not play as much, you know, and just having folks understand that, parents understand that, you know, kind of goes, I guess it's something that happens, you know, on every level of sports. Just dealing with, you're dealing with that, you know, with the parents, and kind of giving them a realistic expectation of where their son is at this point. We don't want him to quit or anything. We want him to continue through the process, because we have seen kids take tremendous leaps and bounds. One of the things that we've tried to create, though, within our program is an earned, not given mentality. And so a lot of times you can, you know, you speak it, you give the vision out, but it takes folks a little time to kind of grab and see, you know, that, oh, okay, now I understand, you know. So I would say for me, the most challenging thing is just having to explain to, you know, parents and, you know, kids that right now, you know, you're just not ready to play, you know, half the game yet. You know, we'll try to get you in here and there. And then football is a physical sport. You know, it becomes a safety issue for some of these kids. Again, we don't want them to quit. You know, practice to me is where you really develop. And we have our practices structured to where you have a position coach. That's where you're getting your development at. We have, you know, scout teams. We have enough kids where we can get 11-on-11 looks, and we have enough film out there, you know, that, you know, we can see the kids' progression, where he is. And it's just dealing with that reality. But I had a buddy who I spoke with recently. He told me that they deal with it in high school too. So I guess you can't get away from dealing with the parents and their expectations, with their kids. I mean, I get it. As far as being a parent, you want the best for your kid. Some of them are understanding and knowing that, well, my son's not there yet, but I want to keep him with the program because he is progressing, and I believe in what you guys are doing. But I can say, that's probably the most challenging thing that we've had to deal with as youth coaches, me personally, within the past 2 years, because they're getting older now. So the boys starting to smell themselves a little bit.
Yeah, and as a dad coaching your son, how's that interaction on and off the field? Because I'm coaching my son right now. We're doing the national flag football. We do just flag right now. So he's 7 years old. So I told him I wanted him to do flag for a little bit, and then we'll get the tackle. He's ready for tackle, and he's big enough. He's big enough. I think you can do something with him, Sean, for real. He's hungry, man, but I just want to hold off on that and for a little bit. So but there's actually 2 parts to that. How is it coaching your son on and off the field? How's the interaction? Also, how you feel about waiting or starting off with tackle as soon as you can? Like nowadays, it's 5 years old. When we was growing up, it was 10 years old for us. And we started in my area. It was 10 to 12 years old. So people talk about age gaps now. I'm like, oh man, I played with 12-year-old. Them cats was turning 13 during the season. You feel what I'm saying? So, and I think that prepared me though. But how do you feel about those things?
Well, first of all, with my son, it's been a humbling experience for me to see him grow and develop the way he has. I set no expectations on him, even though you guys and folks may see the Facebook post may look like I'm training him 24/7. I'm really not. Me and my wife, we just been I guess blessed to have him naturally kind of get it, and with his athletic ability, him being able to do some of the things that I was never able to do. I was never a running back. I could never run that fast when I was younger. So I don't put a lot of pressure on him. Now I think when he was 6 or 7, because I was coming from, I was transitioning from playing and I was kind of coaching like that too. I kind of had that college coach mentality, so I had to let me slow down a little bit,
we was coaching like we was coached.
Right. Absolutely. But with him, we don't really discuss much outside of, like, when we come home from practice, we don't talk about football. I want him to organically get it, because one of the things that I'm cognizant of is burnout, and he's at a young age, and with me putting too much pressure on him, about football and, well, let's watch film and let's do this and that and everything. If it's related around and surrounded around football, by the time he gets to high school, he'll probably burn out. He'll be burned out. I'm tired of football. I want to do something else. And, also I don't want him living through my dreams or my, what I've done in the past or failed to do related to the sport. Now, I love football. But now I'm more so, you get it organically. And so he does things on his own. He watches, the YouTube videos of these youth athletes. He watches games, on YouTube. Then he's really into the NFL and college football. And he does that on his own. I can go downstairs and watch my games, turn on the TV, you know, and he'll be upstairs running around, and you know, he'll have a game on. And so we do talk about like the NFL, but just like favorite players and teams, and almost like me and you, if we were having a discussion, you know, man, what you think about the Falcons? You know, what they gonna do this? You know, so he's at that age where I can have that conversation with him, and it's like it's no pressure whatsoever. He loves the Patriots, you know, and I always joke with him, like, you know, Tom Brady left, what y'all gonna do? You know, so that, you know, being able to have that relationship with him is been great for me. There's no pressure, less stress on me. You know, I don't have any, I don't put any weight or any pressure on him to, man, you got to do this. So his thing is, I like Alabama football. His thing is, he wants to go to Alabama. I think he adopted that from his younger ages, just because I used to sit and watch the games a lot and still do. But like recently, you know, I asked him, well, what about these schools? You know, is Nick Saban's probably not going to be there by the time you get out of high school. And so,
know, man. Yeah, he might be there forever.
And so he's still solid, you know, that's where he wants to go. And I'm like, you still young, you know, but definitely no pressure from that. And so it's just been great. And one of the things that he does is he'll pick up certain things on his own. Recently it's been basketball. So he's into that too. Definitely encourage that. Kids doing multiple sports, they have to, for their own sanity, you know. I think a lot of folks who are in the youth coaching circuit, who spend a lot of time within their individual sport, can tend to put pressure on these kids to, you know, to do this sport 24/7. Only focus on this sport 24/7, you know. But I think kids should experience, you know, other things, and make it more so about the kid or the kids, rather than, you know, the adults. And that's, sadly, that's where it's going, you know, within these sports. So I just, you know, categorize everything and put it where, you know, it needs to be. Like, I'm not going to stress out over this stuff. I'm going to let him, you know, kind of do him. I do want him to get that experience of trying to get him into baseball. Right now, he doesn't like it, but my trick is to take him to some Washington National games and have a few, you know, have a good time. A few hot dogs, man, popcorn, sit back, watch the games, you know, in the shade, and hopefully, you know, he'll say to me next year, I want to try baseball. Okay, let's do it. You know, so and then, you know, track, obviously. So I think they should do multiple things. Don't force them to do, you know, to do one sport, you know, the entire year. And I think that's what you know, with your son coming up, one of the things that you want to be mindful of is just that very thing. Allow him to do everything, you know. Don't just focus on football, even though I know that's your love. You know, we love football.
Yes, sir.
Let him get it organically, and develop that his own passion, you know, for it. As far as the age of football, so the thing about football is the game changes, and I call it the evolution of football. Back when you and I played, you know, we played a different style. It was more, you know, bang, bang, helmet to helmet. I don't even think they had a concussion protocol back then.
No. Get back out there. That was their protocol.
Man, it was. I mean, I know for a fact that I played with a few concussions. Didn't get it all back into the next play, and you know, so with that, with the game transitioning to where it is, I think it's a little bit more finesse now. You got to be more of an athlete. You got to be able to move a little bit more in space. with it getting away from, the bang bang, the collisions, the physicality of it. There's nothing wrong with that. You're always going to have these barbaric guys from back in the day, that's going to call certain kids soft if they can't, ram another kid in the dirt or whatever. Right. But, that's just not the way the game is played. And I think with that, we thought that you needed to get the kid into the sport and start hitting as soon as possible, as early as possible, which was 6 for us. With that, the thought process was, you get them used to pads, you get them used to being physical, you get them used to hitting now, early 6. I've moved away from that theory because of the way the game has changed. If you look at it, a lot of people don't play the way that they play. High schools run RPOs now, so it's more so one back is not 3 backs in a backfield, 2 tights, not a goal line offense the entire game where you smash mouth and just ramming into guys. It's more passing now. So that's why I like the 7-on-7 circuits, that are out here for high schoolers. You get more, you develop more of those, we call them low skill sets, the movement, and those things that surround it. So I think it's, I don't think it matters if you're in pads early. Yeah, I would wait. Get him more developed, get him skillful in his movement, get him familiar with, just playing in spaces. I don't know what position is he, but
a little bit everywhere. He played receiver, running back, quarterback.
Yeah,
pretty versed.
Yeah, and I think, obviously there, it's still some physical aspects to the game, but it's no rush. You get them familiar with those skill sets, with the running, throwing, and the catching. He'll be just fine, once he gets about 9, 8, 9, 10, throw it on pass. And then, it prolongs his, I don't want to say his career, but, gives him a break off his body, you know what I mean? Which he hasn't experienced yet, anyway. They're still kids, but, now at our age group, we have kids that are, that have, you start to see more injuries. So we're starting to see more of the knee injuries and the ankles, just different injuries that we would have, you and I would get, as adults, that you don't expect it at that age, but they're not as pliable as they were when they were 6 and 7 years old. And so, now we got to teach these guys the importance of stretching and taking care of your body, eating right, and so forth. So I don't know if I answered everything.
Oh yeah, you got it. Yeah, you covered it. Yes, sir, man. And you said a lot there. Is just that it. I know some friends, we say the exposure is expansion. You know what I mean? It's just growing up, I didn't get those opportunities. We never went anywhere, those types of things. But when I got in college, even though I redshirted, everywhere you all went, I went. So I can experience the world. You feel what I'm saying? When of course I went to all the local games, all of our conference games. I mean, that's, Wingate, over to Tennessee. You know what I mean? That was the first time I ever been to Tennessee. We went to Carson Newman.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Of course, been to South Carolina because I went to Myrtle Beach, but never been to other parts of South Carolina. You feel what I'm saying? So Newberry, I experienced something different there. So it was a big culture shock for me. College altogether, it was a big culture shock for me. And you're giving these kids a great opportunity to expand their mind. So when they are in these environments as they get older, that they're not culture shock. They can just continue to move in the world, and they're not trying to figure things out because they kind of got it figured out. And I think that's awesome, because when y'all went down Valdosta State for that playoff game, I was there.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I first time I've been to Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Then we went to the semi. When I went to the when you guys went to the semifinals, I was there.
Yeah, it's up in Michigan, right?
We went up to Michigan.
Yeah,
you know, went to Grand Valley, Michigan. So Shonda played Brian Kelly, the coach that coaches the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. He was at Grand Valley State.
He was the head coach.
He was the head coach at Grand Valley State.
Okay, yeah.
How about that? You feel what I'm saying? And the coach for the Georgia Bulldogs. What's the coach for the Georgia Bulldogs now?
Kirby Smart.
Kirby Smart was a coach at Valdosta State in Georgia.
I just recently found that out. I was like, wow, he was actually coaching in that game. He was
coaching in that game, bro.
He was their defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Nice.
So for all you all out there that's playing football, if no matter what level you get to play at the next level when you leave high school, you know, take the opportunities. You know, look at those HBCUs, look at the Division IIs, the FBS. Look at all the options that you have because you're getting quality coaching at those levels. We have very high level coaching at Catawba. Like we had by the time I graduated, I think we played for three pro coaches. Like his Coach Sean's Coach Sanders, his was defensive coordinator.
Coach Tom Sula was the D-line coach.
D-line coach.
We're always in his room. And Coach Kent was he the D coordinator? No, he wasn't the D coordinator my senior year, but I think he was there. Yeah, you were there when Coach Kent was there.
He left the year before I got there.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 year before I got there, I didn't experience Kent.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you had Coach Kent. Who else did we have that was there? Coach Walker. He's actually there. He's come back. He's there. But yeah, I think the most notable was Coach Tom. You know, he's coached in. He's been the D-line coach recently. He was with the Redskins. This year,
the Cowboys.
Yeah. And he also had a stint as a head coach with the 49ers.
Yeah.
For a year. So
yeah,
just being around, you know, surrounded around guys like that. And even now, I started going back and reaching out to some of those guys, some of my, you know, my playing buddies who now have, you know, been successful in the coaching ranks and, you know, they're in colleges and high schools and so forth. So just going back and networking and talking with them guys, definitely, it's been a great thing. As a matter of fact, I got a Todd Somerville. Do you remember him?
Yes. Yeah. He coached.
Okay.
He actually came back. I wasn't there for him when he played, but he came back and coached at Catawba when I was there.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's a good dude.
Yeah, really good dude. I'm supposed to get with him next week.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he coaches a high school not too far from here. So I'm going to go out there, just, you know, take a look, chop it up with him. And I just recently talked to McComb, Todd. You know, he's been the D coordinator at Winston-Salem State, and now he's the D coordinator at Hampton. So they have a game up here. I think it's against Howard. I'm going to try to check them out.
That's cool.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of guys that's coaching at the college ranks, high school ranks. A lot of successful guys, man, for Catawba.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a path that you know, I'm 41 now. You know, I kind of look back on it. I'm glad I took the path that I took. You know, I had opportunities to get with Coach Tom early on, right out of high school, to do internships when they were over at NFL Europe. You know, I was so young, and we had our first child during that time. I didn't want to be away, so you know, I chose to just stay, and I found my start in youth football
Mm-hmm.
4 and 5U flag football, and I'm happy with it. Eventually I would want to experience other opportunities. This is the path that, God has chosen for me. And I'm happy with it, seeing the young kids develop at the age that they're at and just, work my way up.
Mm-hmm.
So I can say, even though I'm 41, I got about 30 or 40 more years left. So, definitely, I want to expand my wings a little bit and take it a little higher.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah.
So for a second here, let's take off the coaching hat. Let's put on the dad hat. And as a father, in regards to your son, and you say your son is like getting into basketball, track, all these different things. Truth be told, if you could choose, which sport would you want your son to like end up playing?
My first love, football. If I could choose it. My main thing is this, and I look at it like I don't put any pro expectations on him, professional. That's a different level.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do put on him and my other kids is free education.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am big on that. If you're going in the path where you can potentially, go to school for free, and let's push that, but again, I don't put a lot of pressure on him right now to try to get into school now, try to get coaches looking at you now. You got to work out 7 days a week and do all this. I mean, that's still 10. He still has his games, his fun, with his friends, does a lot of kid stuff, and definitely allow him to do those things. But football, that's my, that's my passion. I would love for him to play football, but again, I'm going to allow him to make that choice. Like I said, he's really watching, he's in the NBA playoffs, and he's running around the house with a basketball, and he's actually pretty good at it. We've been taking him to the basketball court just to shoot around and play, a little bit. And, you never know, with him, I don't want to take that away from him and tell him, you got to play football. You got to, as it comes down to it, and you're in high school and say you're playing both sports, we're going to make the best decision and choice that's good for, we're going to steer them in the right direction. And obviously you got to do your research, build relationships, with coaches, and see what program best fits, the kid, and we'll let him make that choice. We'll be there to guide him, through the process. And like you said, John, doesn't matter what level, I would want him to play D1, go to the big schools. But, if you get a scholarship from Howard or a FCS or D2, and your tuition, college is paid for, listen, all right, this makes the best sense, rather than going to Alabama and being a preferred walk-on. Like, no, we're going to go with this money, son. Right. And you're going to enjoy your experience. I can say, I enjoyed my experience, my college life, at Catawba. It was, I wouldn't take it back for anything. And that's what I would tell, especially with football, all these young athletes. You can have aspirations to play at one of these, big schools, and so forth. But when it comes down to it, there's a lot of levels at that, and work hard, obviously, to get those. But if you don't, it'll be fine. If you get a lower level school that's interested, take your visits, and just be grateful, because a lot of kids don't get that opportunity to extend their playing days, be able to play in college, be able to travel, like you said, and play these schools. So yeah, I still, it's funny, I still have dreams every now and then. This is no lie, no joke, of playing and having one more year of eligibility. Like, I am so serious. Like, in those dreams, you know, it's like he has one more year eligible. I got one more year of eligibility, you know, to play. We're gonna come back next year. We're gonna work hard, you know, during the summer. Those are the things that, you know, like I said, that just having the opportunity to play on college football, you know, on the D2 level was a blessing. You know, being able to, you create so many bonds, you know, during that time that the experience can be taken away. Like I said, it was only 4 years there, but I still have dreams that I have another year of eligibility. You know, you kind of wake up like, dang, you know.
Bro, I had those same dreams.
Yeah, man, it's
I have those same dreams. And I have those dreams, and like I can feel the locker room. I can feel me putting on my pads again.
You can smell it.
Everything, bro. Everything. It's crazy.
The smell of grass.
Yeah.
You know, it just smells different. You go outside, the smell of it.
Right.
You know, a lot of people hated the locker room smell. I loved it. You know what I mean? brings back those memories.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, I can see why they hated it though, because it didn't always smell, you know, like flowers and roses.
Yeah, you get used to it. You get used to it after a
I feel like you get used to it.
Yeah. To us, that was flowers and roses.
Right.
You step into that locker room like, yeah. You know, I never heard a football player say, "Dang, it's stinking here."
I never heard that. You know?
Never.
But when I remember taking my wife into the locker room, and she was like, "Dang, it's I'm like, man, this football, baby. This is football."
Yep. We're like, oh, it smells really good up in here.
Football. What I would just give me one more Saturday of smelling this. Just give me that.
I tell you, man.
So I want to take a detour, man. I want to talk about how you all handling like mental health. This is a big topic now. It's very important. I think we always knew that it was important, but just some of the old school people just didn't, especially in our community, in the Black community, we didn't take to mental health very well. So. What is your stance on mental health? How are you guys? If you're helping your kids, your family, your football family? How are you guys handling mental health?
Oh, I can say it's surprising that it's come out into the light now when it's always been there. You know, you think about it, you think back, like, well, you know, years ago when you and I were in school, you know, folks, we deal with stuff, you know, as humans. And I can say one thing about myself, and I'll give you this story, and then I'll dive into how we're, you know, handling it. My experiences with football, all the way from high school up through college, those were bonds that were built, that were created, relationships that were brotherhoods that were, you know, created doing something that, you know, I really love, you know, that's playing the sport at a high level, competing. That love and that relationship, when I graduated from college, was torn. And in that, I didn't know how to deal with it. It's like, what do I do next? And there was a period in my life where I was really depressed. I don't really tell many people this, you know, unless it comes up. You know, but transitioning from that lifestyle, moving to, you know, a new state, got to meet new people. You know, I'm out there into the world. No more football. It's like it's like breaking up with a spouse or losing a loved one, and you know, there's just not there. Now you have to figure it out. So what do? You turn to comfort stuff, the alcohol, the drugs, whatever it is to kind of soothe or ease that pain. You have to find something to fill that void that was left, So I dealt with that. I wasn't on drugs or anything, but I definitely, drunk a lot. Didn't really know how to function, and you can wear it on the surface, right? But internally, you're depressed. Like I would just ride around up there just crying for no reason. You know what I mean? Like, I would ride around different neighborhoods, like just looking at houses and, just trying to figure out like, what do I do next in life? I was fortunate enough to meet some good people, to kind of help me through that. But I can say, being away from, moving from North Carolina, my home state, up here, it was not only was it a culture shock, but I didn't have anything. I didn't have any path that I was, headed on or I was working toward. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had a college degree. Yes. Okay. So now I'm going to go out into the world and try to work, try to find jobs or whatever. But that wasn't, my heart was still tied to what I just left, my friends, my family and so forth. And so it was really hard for me transitioning from the game. I say that to say I dealt with depression, I think, at the highest level. There were suicidal thoughts. I just didn't know, you know what I mean? And I dealt with it for years. So I carried that, kind of in, which is why I'm passionate with what I do, because I carry that and I know I've been there with these kids, being able to create a positive experience for them, but also kind of teach them and mold them as they develop throughout the years. And my whole thing is I'm getting them ready for high school. Getting high school, and that's why I say I don't like putting too much pressure on kids at this age. You go out and compete, you teach them the game and so forth, but you teach them about life and that there are other things that, you experience. If football is a tool for you to experience the world, well, let's use that. You know what I mean? Let's get out here. Let's go see other places. Let's compete, but let's have fun when we're there. You know what I mean? Like create those experiences so that when you go out into the big bad or the world,
right.
But also football is not everything either. There's life after it. So you have to have, like, you want to go to the league, but what happens if you don't make it to the league? You got to have something in your, and this is what everyone needs to be telling their kids, like,
right,
not going to last forever, brother. So we need to find something else that find a different interest. It's not going to be football 24/7, basketball, whatever it is, that's going to help you. I know. So the reason why I started off with that, with my story is because I know a lot of guys have dealt with that, from guys in the league, they playing football and then all of a sudden it's, you're retired, you get cut or whatever. Now, what are you going to do in life? That's a hard transition. And, the whole concussion thing and what do you call it? What do they call it? With the concussion, what do they say? That it's a disease.
The CTE.
Yeah, CTE.
Yeah.
So I don't downplay the fact that exists, CTE, but I think a lot of guys, like you look at the guys who maybe committed suicide recently, who retired from the league and so forth, I don't put it past them not being able to handle life after playing, life after being in there, with your boys, with your guys, and then all of a sudden it's gone. Okay, what do I do now? How do I transit? What do I turn to? I read a story about Jamal Lewis, the running back from, running
Baltimore
back for,
Ravens.
the Ravens, went to University of Tennessee. He dealt with that, was heavy into, alcohol after his playing days. Now, he may have had, a lot of head injuries and so forth, but I know there's a void that wasn't filled after the game, after he couldn't play anymore.
Right.
So I think that's very, very important in dealing with the sport you're creating. We have to be realistic with it, with these kids. You know what I mean? Like, we have a passion for the game, and there's a lot of things you can do outside of it, but outside of just playing, but you don't want to build your life based off a sport, you know what I mean? Because it's not going to last forever. And so that's my experience with the mental health aspect dealing with football. Now, as we transition into just life period, man, I feel like social media plays a big role in people's mental aspect or mental health. I think the problem is this, and there's no way to stop it. You just got to create awareness. And I saw this years ago with social media. Self-esteem is it's a human trait or characteristic that is very big. We downplay it. We don't look at it a lot. What social media creates is a platform where I can build my self-esteem up, So I'm going to show you my best life. And one click from any of you guys loving, liking, and giving me the attention, it stimulates that emotion, like, oh, wow, people like me. You know what I mean? Like, oh, people see, people are watching me and watching my progression. Okay. So that builds my self-esteem. But on the flip side of it, if I'm looking through social media and your life looks better than mine, then it can create negative emotions, and that it can make you look at yourself like, what I'm not doing. All right, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing. Look at my life. You know what I mean? And then the devil starts talking to you. I'm sorry, but
right.
And your mind is just. So I think just people want to feel love. You know what I mean? We have to be aware of that. Like, the people that we come in contact with that are in our sphere of influence, they want to be loved. We got to know how to handle people, the right way. And I think creating just a mindset of, we're going to lock in, we're connected. We're brothers. I'm going to build you up. You build me up. I can talk to you. I can be open, about anything. And I know that you have my best interest at heart. We can't reach everyone, but those that we can reach, for sure, I think we need to just keep that in mind, because we don't know what anyone's going through. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So I don't know if I answered.
Oh, no, you did a great job, man, answering that. And just because I had the privilege of playing with with Coach Sanders, so I know a little bit more stuff that went on at Catawba, and I know the relationships that we had there. I really do look up to you guys like big brothers, right? You and Reese, and even though I don't even talk to you guys, it's like, those are my big bros, because y'all brought me on. I mean, y'all showed me the ropes. Y'all showed me how to be great at the college level. So what I want to talk to you about is that time. Speaking of mental health, I do feel like that we do need some help, transition into life. and us being more proactive and touching each other, even if it's a phone call or text, touching each other when we leave. Of course, we didn't have text back then, but how was the transition? Also, the impact that you had when we lost Darius Morris on that January night.
That kind of built onto my depression. It was our senior year after football season, and we're all trying to figure out what we're gonna do, next. We really didn't have a plan. Darius was getting some interest, as well as myself, from some pro scouts, and they were actually coming to. They were going to come to the school and work us out. I didn't find this out until after, he had passed away. But it created a dark moment into my life, and we're about to graduate, in a couple months. With him passing, everything kind of stopped for me. I was just there, and then I transitioned into graduating and then moving away. I think you just have these thoughts. Like, what if, when you kind of go back and replay, that night, what if he didn't, run down there? What if I had jumped in and stopped him and the boys from running down? Like, it's not smart. Let's not do that. It was a weird moment, and I know Nick Means, he kind of felt the same way. It could have been prevented, but there's nothing you can do about it. But for us, it was a moment in time where it's like, man, what do we do now? This is we're, what do you do? What do you do? There was no, I don't know if there was any counselors available, but we didn't. The only way for us to kind of console each other was to just be around, the group. It was JB, McBride, all the fellas.
Yeah, so EJ.
Yeah, all us. And we cope with it through alcohol and, just being together as a group. Because, Demo was the life of the room, spoke the most. When he spoke, I always say this, like, everybody turned and listened. You know what I mean? And, he was sort of like that. He was that big brother that had the floor, can engage and get everybody's, attention and kind of steer the group. He really, his leadership was, that's what I think a lot of people don't talk about. People don't realize, like, he was a true leader, well-spoken guy. We all followed him, you know what I mean? And, from that, it was just unfortunate, man. And his mom, his sisters, you kind of felt for them and during that time. So it was a dark moment in my life, as well as some of the brothers.
Yeah, that was tough time. And, like, just speaking on the mental health aspect is, we should have had counselors there, like, lined up. Like, we had over 100 kids, right? We got 100 kids, 18 to 22 years old, that just experienced a loss from a teammate, which is a brother for us, because we're together every day. We training in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. We eat together. Then we go study. We go to class together. Then we go to practice together. Then we eat together again. Like, it's it's too much. Like that college family is too much like a family for us not to have that counseling in place, and us to just say this, like you said, deal with it. You know, we just dealt with it. We dealt with it on our terms, and as kids, we dealing with it on our terms. Our terms is, like you said, alcohol, you know, women, girls, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like we do need that guidance, man. And
yeah, you don't really know. Yeah. And a lot of times it's you'll be amazed at how much communicating or being able to communicate and express your feelings will help you get certain things out or flush it out. You know, we didn't have that back then. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's, you know, something, you know, you brought up mental health. That's something that's important. And I think, you know, folks need to understand that. Don't hold stuff in. Like you feeling a certain way, go talk, you know, find someone you can talk to, you know, because it's the worst thing you can do is just to sit and try to deal with it and handle it yourself. I think that's the reason why we got a lot of these guys who, you know, go around shooting up a place because they had a bad day or they feel like, you know, feel a certain way. So I'm gonna take somebody else out. Misery loves company, and that's, you know. But what happens if I could have just had a conversation with you? You know what I mean? And to steer your thoughts differently, you know, to build you up, build your self-esteem up, you know, because you are important. You know what I mean? Regardless of what you think and what you're seeing, you know, every single individual has something to give. They're important, you know. That's why mental health, you know, awareness needs to be put in the forefront. Let's try to engage these folks, like before something, you know what I mean, before they take their own life and other people's lives, you know, before they, you know, result into going to drugs and turning to alcohol and stuff like that. Let's talk about it. You know.
Deal.
I was gonna say, you know, on one hand, I'm surprised you guys didn't have like a counseling like situation on campus, but looking back, I don't think we had neither at my school. So
no.
I don't know what these college campuses are doing now. You know, back that was early 2000s.
Yeah.
When that happened. So I mean, now it's probably different because like he was saying, like mental health awareness is starting to become more on the forefront. So hopefully that's changing.
So Sean, man, what's now? Let's talk about what's now. Some of your goals. What's your goals this coming fall? And what can we, you know, kind of pray for, expect from you going forth in the future? What's some of your goals, you know, 5-10 years from now?
The immediate goals is, you know, is this related to football or just in life in general?
Yeah, football, life.
Oh, okay.
Everything, man.
Because I have several goals. You know, I'm starting to how does my wife put it? Does a great job of this. She's really good at it. Give me a second. I'm just thinking of how I want to put it together.
No problem.
Compartmentalize my time. Structure it to where, again, everything's not about football. You know, because you'll be amazed with youth football, like the amount of time we put in watching film, breaking down film, creating game plans, you know, going over plays, having Zoom meetings with the boys, you know, chalkboard talks and stuff like that. Takes up a lot of time. But, you know, just recently it's been for me, okay, well, I need to, you know, there's other parts of life. You know, like my grass needs to be cut. And it's going on, you know, it's going on a whole month. I look like I got a whole forest going out there. Okay, all right. I see what I need to do now. I'm not dealing with no football stuff. during this time frame, you know, so between, 4 and 7, that's football stuff. And this is outside of like my practice days. And, so it just changes between, 8 and 3-ish, that's work stuff, so I'm working because, I'm actually in a great, great agency within the Department of Labor, great managers, and they've given me, leverage to learn new things. Well, I can't be bogged down with football stuff during this time. So, what I'm going to do during this time, turn my phone off, put it on snooze and focus here. I think that's important too. You compartmentalize, your time, your mental capacity. I know us as guys, like I always tell my wife, I'm not good at multitasking. Like I don't think I was wired for that. You may be, but I'm not. So if it's finances, I want to do better in my finances. Then during this time, we're going to set, goals. We're going to go over, what needs to be done, monthly, but we're also going to make sure that we're on that path and stay on that path,
That's big.
Yeah. So that's a compartment, we want to be here when we get 60. Right. Well, this is the path. Let's not steer from that. This is important. Let's bring it to the forefront, but if I'm always thinking about, football, the next play, what we're going to do and this and that, then it's going to push that down to the side. And we just, so I think that's important too, all, for mental health. So for me, my immediate goals as far as life this year is to compartmentalize things. And then with the football, stuff, obviously we got goals, for our team to go ahead and win a national. Under that umbrella, you get the development, the travel, the experience and all that stuff, the fun for the kids. But we definitely we're playing to win. So we'll see how that goes. 5-10 years from now, I want to have property, mainly down in Florida, because I always kind of joke around like I want to move, I want to get back down south. Right. I'm not for sure where, but I definitely, once my kids are graduated from high school, I'm thinking about, moving. I don't know how far south, but definitely somewhere where it's a little bit warmer, where it's less condensed. It's not bad here, but I want to be, somewhere with a country feeling, so to speak. Right outside of a city, right, and so forth. So, and then coaching wise, where do I want to take it? It's interesting. I always say, like, I could have jumped out there and did a couple things, but I kind of wanted to wait on my son and make sure, he's getting what he needs to get. I think I'm at the place now where, I'm comfortable with, and I know the landscape of youth football around here. I'm comfortable with leaving him with, a group of guys who can still get him developed. And, if opportunity comes for me to, coach at a high school level, that'd be great. If I can get into the college ranks, I don't know how that would work, but, I would definitely want to give that a shot. You know how it goes, man. Once you get into that system, once you get into, your ACC coach, got a couple years under your belt,
sky's the limit.
Yeah, those positions are, they there's a group of guys, the good old boy system, what I mean? Yeah. That's the SEC, they recycle coaches. They might be at Georgia for 2 years and then they at Auburn, the next year. Why? Because I know this guy. Right. So once you get kind of in that range, I don't even know if I really want that, but I think it would be, it's something that I would want to experience at least once in life.
Good deal. Man, we want to wrap this thing up, man, but I want to you throw out some of them accolades. So when you was at Catawba College, all right, senior year, what's some of the awards you received?
When I got defensive freshman of the year, I think that was the award when I came in as a true freshman. Sophomore year, I did experience a sophomore slump. I had too much fun my freshman year, and I did experience a slight sophomore slump. Junior year, I came back, I was on the first team all conference. I was first team all conference. I think I got a honorable mention All-American junior year. Senior year came back, I got defensive player of the year for the conference. First team All-American on one list, all region. I think that was it. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, it's fun times, man.
Fun times. Yeah, I just want to let everybody know that you was a baller. That's all. That's my claim to fame. I said, hey man, I played against #1 defense in the nation every day, and some All-American linebackers.
He used to punish. He used to punish us. He used to punish us in practice. I'm telling you, and we would be going hard. Yes, true story. Like, this guy was tough. I mean, like he ran hard. And you know what? One thing I remember is you used to always encourage us. You know what I mean? You used to always encourage us. Like you would make a play on us. Come on, Demo. Come on, Sean. Man, you got to do this, got to do that in the third. So, but he ran hard. Like he was. When I say you took a lot of punishment, from us, but he got us. You got us better. Like. It was really, I remember it vividly, like just the practices was tough. Like, oh man, scout team, offense, man, hey, there go John, you know what I mean? And there was another guy too, like, bro, I mean, y'all came in there and our practices were hard. They were tough.
Practice was hard.
And we made sure we got about at least 60 plays during that team period, and y'all was running them things at a rapid pace. We tied, you know what I mean? And you running hard, we like, look, man, slow down just a little bit. You know what I mean?
Hey, that was the only speed I ever do, man. In high school, that's the only speed.
Really, you was a really tough ball player, man.
No, that's
yes, sir.
Yes, sir, man. Sean, I definitely appreciate you just
Absolutely.
taking time out. I know you taking time out from your family, man. Really appreciate it. Tell your wife and kids we really thank her.
Yes, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You want to give out your like Facebook group or it's like your social media, or you want to like keep that kind of private?
Oh no, that's my Facebook is my name, Javarr Sanders. My Instagram, hold on, I got I'm getting a little older, man, so it's I can't do it like these youngins, hit me, reach me at underscore check. My IG Instagram is Java, like the app 5511. That's JAVA 5511. And I need to start using Twitter, I see, a little bit more. I don't really use that. I do have a Twitter page, so don't worry about following me on that.
Right.
You can go and follow my son. He has his own IG page.
That's what's up.
G1 _ Sanders _ by boy BYEBOY. You can follow him there. He's got a couple clips on there and so forth. Yes, sir. Also, guys, follow my team that I head coach now. It's City Life, one word, City Life Raptors, one word, 10U, all one word.
Okay.
Go support us out there. We have our GoFundMe up. Guys, hit us up. We do a lot of travel. We're not sponsored by Nike or the NCAA, so we got to raise a lot of funds. So, any little bit, any little will help, any amount will help, us to offset some of these travel costs for these kids, so, yeah, that's it. That's about it.
Sounds good, man. We'll definitely be behind you. thoughts and prayers. Definitely gonna have to come check you out somewhere. Check your
Yes,
game
sir.
out. Maybe we can bring the podcast to y'all.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Maybe he could bring the team to us.
We could do that. Where you guys? No, you guys are in
Charlotte.
Oh, y'all are in Charlotte. Okay,
Yeah.
man. Okay, so I need to reach out to you guys. That's one of our regular stops, man.
Hit us up.
Tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely make sure, when we're back down there, and I'm pretty sure it'll be soon.
All right.
I'll let you guys know.
For sure.
And thank you for sharing your story, by the way. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
All right, are we gonna sign out? Follow us on Instagram at The Formula Production. Follow us on Twitter at The Formula Pro. Follow us on YouTube at The Formula Production. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you share. And follow me at Speechless417.
You can follow me at Boot Leach.
All right.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that.
Nice. Till next time. Faith, dream, hustle, repeat. Almost forgot.
That's the formula.
Later.
All right, guys.